Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA, and the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Hey, Chet, it's time. The Giants are coming to town to face the Eagles for a trip to the NFC Championship game. Is it going to be any more fun on Saturday night? The Sixers have now won 8 of their last 10 and creeping up in the playoff picture. We'll see toward first place. The Flyers, yes, Chet, the Flyers, it's January. They've won 8 out of 10 after winning again last night. They're getting close in the wild card spot, too. And by the way, pitchers and catchers, February 16th. So much going on in the world of Philly sports.
Yeah, exciting times for sure, Bill. But, even though the Flyers and Sixers have been racking up lots of victories of late, it's the NFL postseason. And, whenever the Eagles are in the hunt, that's always the top priority, the thing at the top of most Philadelphia sports fans' minds. So we will have lots of birds talk in a few different segments of tonight's show, in addition to everything else.
Absolutely. I'm pretty excited about that. Bye week is good for resting, but for fans, it makes us antsy, especially after we saw what we saw this weekend.
I wonder if more people are buying Pizza Hut pizzas this week, because did you hear Coach Sirianni and his staff were chewing down on some Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizzas while they were watching the Giants the other day. So that's been a focal point for a lot of radio talk shows lately.
That's right. Well, hey, we've got a couple great guests tonight. Mike Conroy will be making a return visit tonight. We're looking forward to talking to Mike. He's got a lot going on. And we got a first-time visit from that Mickey Morandini will be joining us. Of course, Boop will be back to make divisional round weekend predictions.
It's weird. Even though the Eagles are favored by 7 or 7.5 points, while some fans are very confident, there seems to be a big contingent of folks also who sound like they're a bit worried about the G-men coming into Philly on a Saturday night. I don't know where Boop and you stand, but I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will talk about it. But, Chad, I tell you, let's go ahead and talk some Eagles, because Mike will be joining us in a little bit. But, hey, I find this whole thing kind of interesting in the fact that the national media has made the Eagles into underdogs. They've been pumping up Dallas. They've been pumping up San Francisco. And now, they're making it sound like the Giants are this red-hot team coming to town. They're not. I mean, a nice win. They had a nice win. Give them that. But it's not like they're playing ball like the 49ers are.
No, they won, like 3 of their last 8 games or something like that. They had that stinking tie against Washington at one point. So, yeah, they're not exactly lighting it up. But I guess 1 win is enough to be considered a hot team going into another playoff game. I don't think so. What a weekend of football, though, Bill. As you know, I was out Saturday evening, so I didn't get to see that amazing comeback by Doug Peterson's Jaguars. I was keeping tabs on the score, and I couldn't believe that they actually did it. From the highlights I watched the next morning, it seemed like, the Jags made some great adjustments at halftime, took care of the ball a whole lot better, which was a big factor, but also that the Chargers did some things to just, mess things up, including Bosa taking a couple of those unsportsmanlike conduct penalties.
Yeah, Bosa cost them the game.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. He cost them the game. And, well, let's go ahead and jump into that. I hate that you missed that game because the officiating was horrible. There were, I would say, Bosa complained about holding calls, and on the one that he got the 15-yard penalty was for the offensive tackle moving early. He did move early. They didn't call it, and it led to Bosa losing his mind, throwing his helmet, and another 15 and all other stuff. But San Diego probably had at least 6, and I might be being easy on them, pass interference calls that didn't get called. And that kind of went on all weekend. They let a lot of mugging going on this weekend in a lot of games. And, you can't, my opinion, you can't change the rules in the middle of the game now. You're to the playoffs. You should be playing to the same stupid standards when it comes to hitting the quarterback that you have been all year.
Well, the officiating has been subpar much of the season, and I guess that's continuing at least. So there's some consistency there. But I mean, the officiating is what it is. But Bosa still can't lose his mind like that and hurt his team. And even a day or two later, when he talked about it, he said, "Yeah, he hurt his team, but basically the officials suck." So he's gonna get a nice little fine, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he's right. He's right on both those cases.
Oh, yeah,
they were bad. But he's a pro, and I can't give the Chargers coach a whole lot of credit for much he did in the second half, but he benched Bosa, and he had to because the guy was completely out of his mind. So now they're playing the end of the game with their best player on the bench because he couldn't play because of his own doings, and that's a shame for San Diego. They get to go golfing. Because their best player lost their mind, and you can't be throwing equipment. What in the world?
I did get to watch the Giants and Vikings on Sunday, and I picked the Giants, got that one right. I did pick the Chargers to beat the Jags Saturday night. I thought I had that one in the bag, didn't work out. But the Giants beating the Vikings didn't surprise me. Minnesota has really, been inconsistent down the stretch. Not that the Giants were world beaters or, as we discussed, they're not on this great roll, but they played better than Minnesota did the other day. And that's why they're there. And that's why they're the Eagles' opponent this coming weekend.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see with A.J. Brown. The Giants did a nice job with Justin Jefferson. They tried to make the Vikings go other places. The Vikings didn't do great at it. They didn't do awful at it, but, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are better than what the Vikings had, although they have some good players too. But they took Jefferson out of the game a little bit, and that certainly helped the Giants. Nice defensive game plan by them.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. We're going to make our predictions, of course, later on. I think it could be a very, very competitive game. And it's 8:15 on a Saturday night in Philadelphia. The fans are certainly going to be into it, shall we say, Bill?
Yeah. They'll be getting warm. That's for sure prior to the game. I will say this about the Giants. I think they're definitely better with a healthy Saquon Barkley. He can do a lot of things.
Yeah,
and he can break away any play. So certainly a challenge for the Eagles there. But I think the big thing is Daniel Jones is not going to be able to stand back there like he did against the Vikings with the Eagles front 4 or front 6 as they do their different rotations. But what I think what the Eagles have to be careful of is dumping that ball off to Barkley, running screens, running short games, and making things happen that way.
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to put up this weekend's games, and I don't have it. I just have the wild card graphics, but we know the games. And, we're going to talk about those games with Boop later on. But, boy, the Jags with Andy going up against Andy Reid and Kansas City, that's going to be interesting. I don't know how many people are going to give the Jags a chance in that one, but certainly an interesting coaching battle. And then you have Buffalo and Cincinnati in the rematch of the game that wasn't completed a few weeks ago. And, of course, the Eagles game, and then Dallas and San Francisco, which a lot of Eagles fans will hopefully have a lot of interest in watching on Sunday, hopefully to see, who the Eagles' next opponent will be.
Yeah, we'll talk about this with Boop too. But, we all want to hate Dallas. We all want Dallas to lose. But if they can block and they can give Prescott time to stand back there and pick his guys, he can be dangerous. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Again, that's another one, as you just mentioned with the Eagles. It may not be the cakewalk that everybody's thinking about. And, over with the Jaguars and the Chiefs, again, no one's giving the Jaguars much of a chance. But here's what you do know. If Doug Peterson is on the sidelines, they're playing to win.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, they're going to play to win. They're going to come to play. And if it means going for it and 4th and 6 on your side of the field, He might just do that if he thinks it's going to give his team a chance. He's not going to fold up and go away. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I hope Doug and the Jags are ready to play that one, because it could be fun. It could be a lot of action in that one, a lot of points put up on the board maybe. Hopefully, Lawrence won't have the turnovers that he did in the first half of last weekend's game. So I'm excited about that one. And Buffalo and Cincinnati, like I said, should be another good one. So it's going to be another great weekend. This is often the best weekend of the postseason for the NFL.
Yeah, I think it is because you get the best games, but you don't necessarily get upsets. I think the upsets happen in the wild card week. These usually, sorts itself out. The best team wins. Close games. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. What about Jalen Hurts?
We hope that. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts looks like he's healthy. He's off the injured list. Lane Johnson, of course, still the big concern. He's been at practice. Heard some reports today that he actually looks pretty good. He's going to give 100% no matter what his condition is. But the fact that we're getting reports that he is moving around pretty well, that's great news for, the Eagles, for the fans, and for Jalen Hurts too. Yeah, absolutely. And, I think great interview with Jason Kelce, which is what else is new, right? When he talked last week, he said, the rest is great. Having rest is great here, but getting back to the basics, doing the little things, practicing the things that you let get away because you don't really have time during this season to adjust. That's why you'll come back and you see a much more fundamentally sound Eagles team than some of the sloppy play that I think we saw down the stretch.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I really am.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see the whole receiver thing. I don't know if it's Dallas Goedert that's going to go off or if it's Devontae Smith, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the Giants will come out and try to do some sort of double coverage on A.J. Brown, not let A.J. Brown be the one to beat you. But the Eagles have a lot more weapons than anybody else in this league, and it's going to be fun to see what happens and who the go-to guy is. Maybe it's several.
Yeah, and you mentioned Dallas Goedert. We know that Smith and A.J. Brown are going to be targets, but Goddard's been kind of quiet since coming back from the injury, so maybe this will be his, big breakout game and reemergence. So that'll be something to watch too. And, Miles Sanders and Boston Scott, because, Boston Scott has always played great against the Giants, so maybe they'll get him more involved this weekend too.
Yeah, well, and nothing would make me any more excited as if the Nick Sirianni decides to just come out and line up and punch them right in the face, run the football, smack them in the mouth, and just play that kind of game. I'd be thrilled with that too.
I'd be okay with that for sure.
All right. You want to jump in and talk Sixers for a minute while we have time? I know you're pretty excited. They're out west. They've won a couple games in a row out there. Always tough sledding when you go out west. And your boy continues to dominate, playing great ball, and they've now won 8 of 10. They've climbed up in the standings a little bit too, right? They're in third place now, right? And just 4.5.
Yeah, they actually lost a game over the past week, though. They were 3.5 because Boston's on a 7-game winning streak right now. And the Sixers lost last Wednesday, the night that we did our show, before winning those 3 in a row. So, yeah, they lost a game in the standings, but they moved up to third place, just a half game out of second. Look at those second through fifth place teams, just one game separating the Bucks, Sixers, Nets, and Cavaliers. Sixers, as you said, have been playing very well. Embiid has been on fire. He's getting 35-40 every night now, it seems. Harden was playing great, had a bit of a bad game last night, didn't shoot well. But, Maxey stepped it up and had 20 points. Tobias Harris was great. I think he had 5 steals in the first half, and then, also scored. So they got it going really well, and they got a couple of more games out west, I believe Portland and Sacramento this weekend. And then next Wednesday, they're back home against you-know-who and those Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say to you as I was looking at this over the weekend, getting ready for the show, thinking about the show, if it can maybe it doesn't concern you now because they've won 2 in a row, but coming into this trip, just 9-9 on the road. If you throw that stat back up or that sheet back up there that you just had, everybody else, 16-7, Boston, that's pretty good. That's 14-9. Sixers were 9-9 at the time.
I guess they were 8-9 because they've won 3 in a row now. So I guess they were 8-9.
3 in a row on the road, or they're all on the road. Yeah. So, yeah, I was going to ask you about that. If you are concerned with the idea that they weren't playing quite as well on the road, but maybe they're straightening that out.
I hope so. And, they'll get a test this weekend with those 2 games, but it's tough to win a lot of games. Yeah, the Nets and Knicks look like they've been doing pretty well on the road, but even the Celtics, they're 16-7. So, yeah, they're playing pretty well on the road.
They play well everywhere.
Yeah, right, they do. The Celtics have been playing great. Tatum is an MVP candidate, so they're going to be tough. I think the Celtics are going to hold on to that number 1 seed. But, I'm not overly worried yet about any of that because, as we say every week, it's just about getting guys healthy and continuing to grow as a team and get ready for April, May, and June.
Well, I would be thrilled if they roll into the playoffs playing good ball, because we've seen the last couple of years they have not done that. They haven't been ready to play as a unit going into the playoffs. Hopefully this year they're healthy enough to do that and can go in with some momentum that will help them get through these first couple rounds that they're going to need to get through.
Yep. Now, we can talk more Sixers later maybe, but let's talk about insurance and beer and then bring Mike on.
Okay. Well, let's talk about insurance. It's winter. It's cold. You're spending more time at your couch than you are at your car, so it's time for you to start saving with Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance.
Yeah, Bill, Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance puts you in control. You only pay for the miles you drive with the same full coverage that a traditional policy offers. Pay-per-mile insurance gives customers greater control of their insurance costs. See how much you can save with pay-per-mile car insurance by calling your local agent. In Westchester, PA, that is Dave Lavoie. Call Dave at Allstate, 610-430-0700. Once again, 610-430-0700, and start to save more now that you are driving less.
That's right. And speaking of driving, Chet, you've been driving over to the Irish Rover Station House. What do they got going on? It's winter, and I know they always have a Valentine's Day something going on, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And I may be stopping by there this weekend because I will be in that area. Lots of fun at the Irish Rover. If you don't already know it, they have Quizzo every Wednesday evening, and then they have live music on Saturday nights. This week it's Oliver Daggum. Plus, well, you like great food? Who doesn't? The Irish Rover has Killer Burger Thursdays. That Baconator with 12 pieces of bacon. Are you kidding me? Dinner specials Thursday through Sunday. I'm thinking about that bacon right now. A $5 per item tailgate menu during all Eagles games. And as always, 24 beers on tap at the Irish Rover. There it is. And soon, I promise, we will get details about how the Rover is going to celebrate its 10th anniversary at its Bellevue Avenue Langhorne location. Find out more about all of the above at the website, IrishRoverStationHouse.com. And Bill, because I saw this guy this weekend, I'm going to throw him in here right.
Hey, everybody, it's Willie Nile here, and you're listening to Chet and Bill on Philly Pressbox Radio. You lucky people.
All right. Thanks, Willie. Hey, speaking of lucky people, Chet, since you saw Willie this weekend, what about the lucky fans of Philadelphia that are going to get a full dose or kind of a full dose of Ray Diddy? Ray is back.
Ray isn't saying he's coming out of retirement, but he's kind of out of retirement now. He's contributing to the morning show now on WIP when they shift to the morning, Joe DeCamera and Company. He will be part of the pregame and postgame show all through the playoffs on NBC Sports Philadelphia. I believe he will be out tomorrow night, by the way, with Glenn Mack now at the Conshohocken bar that Glenn is a part owner of. They got something going on there. So, Ray Diddy is getting out and about and making a lot of appearances in connection with this Eagles postseason run.
We're going to have to check with Ray and find, or maybe with David Didinger, and find out if Mrs. Didinger said, go on.
Yeah, I think she signed off on some of this, but maybe he just like stretching it a little bit more. Who knows?
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, hey, let's talk Phillies. Spring training just a month away. Mike Conroy is going to join us. Mike is all over the Phillies, and he's got a lot going on with the Darren Dalton Foundation as well. Mike, welcome back to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you guys again.
Hey, Mike, great to see you. You know what? we will get your views on the Eagles a little bit later on, but we mentioned the Phillies, and as Bill noted earlier, it's hard to believe, but we are fast approaching spring training. So, Mike, after the run to the World Series a couple of months back, how excited are you about the 2023 Phillies?
Oh man, I cannot wait. I'm glad they paid Reese his money, which he was due. They solidified that bullpen. I mean, they went out and spent some big money, made some trades. I know Verling and Manton and some of those guys were fan favorites, but to see that backdoor talent that came in, we got a good run going right now.
What do you think, Mike, about the little stat that came out that the Phillies have, what is it, 81% of all 100-mile-per-hour left-handed relievers?
Yeah, that was
81% over the 100-mile mark. We got them both.
We're gonna see that, and we'll boo just like Wagner. If they don't get over 100, and hopefully they got some thick skin and they throw 102 in their next pitch.
Right.
But it's just great to see. Middleton's putting his money where it needs to be now. He knows the talent's there. He knows the fans will come. And I am excited. I mean, it's fantasy camp right now, and most of the former players are down there, and they're just hyping it up. And, pitchers and catchers, a few weeks away. We need it to start.
I got to tell you, shame on me for never having gotten down there for fantasy camp. I might have to put that on my bucket list because, I see the highlights and the pictures from it every year. It looks like a great time. And I'm sure it's, how could it not be fun hanging with Larry Anderson and Mickey Morandini and guys like that?
Oh, without a doubt. And then Chase Utley's down there this year. He's decided to skip the pond. So he was out playing golf today with a lot of the guys, and they were sharing some stories. But, I wish I was down there as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to sneak a ride. I know here in Lakeland, the Tigers have their fantasy camp going on as well. And that was always big back when Alkaline and them were here. It was always a big crowd as well. So fantasy camp is fun, and I've seen the guys out out and about around town in the past, and always having a good time.
Absolutely, anywhere LA is, it's a good time.
That's right.
Hey, Bill, you want a little Mickey Morandini?
Well, sure. You had a chance to talk with Mick.
Yes.
As we talk about fantasy camp, he is at fantasy camp, so. We couldn't get him live, but he was kind enough to spend some time talking with you guys, and tell us about it.
It was a great discussion I had with Mickey the other day about all things Phillies, analytics versus old school baseball, and a terrific event coming up next week that Mickey, Mike, and I will all be in attendance for. So without further ado, here is our chat with Mickey. Always fun to talk with former Phillies on our show. We've had a few from that great 1993 NL championship team in the past, including Tommy Green and Kevin Stocker. And now we welcome another fan favorite to the show. But hey, you know what? Instead of me introducing him, let's have a true professional do it.
Now batting for the Phillies, number 12, second baseman, Mickey Morandini.
All right, much better. Always good to have Dan Baker do the introduction. How you doing, Mickey?
I'm doing great. Ready for this upcoming baseball season. Should be a good one.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. We'll talk about the fundraiser event coming up later this month, later in the interview. That would be in Norristown. Pitchers, pints, and players. But we're going to talk a little Phillies baseball first. First of all, how much fun was it from your perspective as a former player watching what the 2022 Phillies did in the second half of the season, taking it right into Red October and even November?
Yeah, it definitely brought back some memories from when I played in '93. Just the atmosphere of the city, going to the ballpark. For us, it was 55,000 screaming fans at Vet Stadium. So I was fortunate enough to be able to go to most of the home games, and the place was just electric. And I think we all know that. How the fans were kind of yearning for a team to get into the playoffs. It had been, a long time since 2011. So it was super exciting. The way they were winning ball games late, hitting home runs. It was definitely a lot of fun.
Of course, since the season ended a couple of wins shy of where the Phillies and us fans would have liked to have seen them go, Dave Dombrowski and company have really made some huge moves. Among other things, of course, they signed the free agent shortstop Trey Turner. How good is Turner, and how's he going to fit in with this Phillies team?
Well, I think, one, he's really, really good, and he brings a lot to the table for this team. Possible leadoff hitter. Obviously, he brings a guy that can steal 40 or 50 bases, very good defensive shortstop. and just an all-around good guy. He'll be great for that clubhouse. But just a guy we needed, especially now with Bryce being out for a couple of months while he's had the surgery, recovering from that. It'll be nice to get another bat in the lineup and someone that can help carry the team until Bryce gets back.
They also added starting pitcher Taijuan Walker, the former New York Met, and really beefed up the bullpen as well with 3 good additions to join Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jose Alvarado. They got veteran right-hander Craig Kimbrell and lefties Matt Strum and Gregory Soto. They got some relievers who can really bring the heat.
Yeah, they really did a nice job of securing that bullpen. A lot of guys that can throw the ball hard. And that seems to be the theme nowadays in the big leagues is you want your bullpen to be able to, get a lot of strikeouts, miss bats, things like that. And they have 5 guys down there that definitely do that. Hopefully we can get a good version of Kimbrell. He's struggled a little bit the last couple of years, but if we can get a version of him that has been in the past, this bullpen can be very, very dominating.
Yeah, the Phillies went from having a historically bad pen a couple of years ago to maybe having one of the best, so we shall see. Hope it works out. Mickey, I heard you say in an interview a couple of years ago, well, 2 things. You're not a fan of how prevalent analytics is in baseball today, and you miss the days of small ball, moving guys over with sacrifice bunts, etc. Do you still feel that way?
I do. I just, and I'm an old school guy, and you're going to find all the old school guys are big on, they're not big on analytics, and all the new school guys are. And I get it. And I think analytics has a place in the game because there is a lot of valuable information that we get from analytics. I just sometimes think it's way too much information, and at times it can be confusing for the players. But I'm just an old school guy that, for me, baseball was moving runners, stealing bases, suicide squeezes. I miss the players taking a guy out at second base to save a double play, or the collision at home plate. And I know what they're doing. I know they're trying to keep these players safe, and I get that. But that was baseball to me, and I kind of miss those days. I think that's what made baseball really exciting, with those types of plays. And we just don't see enough of it now.
Yeah. Well, you didn't play with these guys, but Jimmy Rollins is on the Hall of Fame ballot now for a second year, and Chase Utley is going to be on the ballot next year. Of course, key guys from that 2006 through 11 Philly squad that, was so great. 2008 World Series championship, of course. Do either of those guys have any real shot at getting to Cooperstown, and which one is more deserving?
I think Jimmy's got a better shot. Just the longevity. Chase had some really, really good years, but some injuries played a role in that. But I think Jimmy, you stack his numbers up with any other the shortstops that are already in. He's right there. So I think Jimmy's got a pretty good chance to get in. I'm not so sure about Chase.
Mickey, last year, 2 guys integral to that 1993 Phillies team left us. The architect of the team, GM Lee Thomas, and setup man David West, who was just terrific in the 7th and 8th innings in a 93. Any particular memories of those 2 guys?
Oh, absolutely. David was really key for us that year. He led us in appearances, was that lefty we needed coming out of the bullpen to close down some innings. He did a fabulous job and just an all-around great guy. And he had the same that we're going to talk about, I think, in a few minutes here, the same brain cancer that Darren Dalton had. So,
yeah.
And we've had several Phillies that have had this cancer. So there's some questions there about why all these Phillies are getting this type of brain cancer. And then Lee Thomas, just a great GM. And I think what he really did in 93 was he had the opportunity to go out and get a couple of really big free agent names, but he kind of backed off of that. And he went out and just got good, solid baseball players, Inky and, Milt Thompson and Eisenreich and Danny Jackson and those types of players. They weren't superstars, but they were very solid veteran players. And we did that platoon system in 93 in left field, right field, and at second base, and it worked. And Lee Thomas really constructed that team very, very well.
Hey, you were with the Cubs in 1998. You had a terrific season yourself, probably your best season statistically. And you were a teammate of that Sammy Sosa fellow who was going neck and neck all year with Mark McGwire. And I believe the Cubs were playing McGwire's Cardinals when he broke the home run record. What was that season like from your perspective, being eyewitness to that epic home run battle?
Yeah, it was a really fun season. It was my first year in Chicago, and in a way, I had to replace a legend there in Ryan Sandberg. He had retired the year before, and that's why they needed a second baseman there. I got traded for Dougie Glanville, who came to Phillies and really put together some really good years too. So the trade really worked out for both teams, but just an incredible year. I remember Sammy hitting 20 home runs in June. And then we get to mid to late August, and they're up there in the 40s and home runs, and they just started going off back and forth. And I remember they used to have scoreboards and all the away scoreboards that we would go to, and you'd see the McGuire-Sosa home run battle up on the scoreboards, and you'd see McGuire hit one and take a home run lead, and then Sammy would hit one in that game. And they just kind of went back and forth, and it was really, really fun and exciting. Kind of brought baseball back because the strike had really soured a lot of people in '94, and then fans really didn't start coming back till this home run battle took place. And then, McGuire kind of took off the last week and ended up winning the home run crown that year and breaking the record. But it was a lot of fun. And it was fun for me because I got to hit in front of Sammy, and a lot of pitchers did not want to face Sammy. So I saw a lot of fastballs, a lot of good pitches, and I really attribute that to why I had such a good year that year.
Hey, we heard Dan Baker introduce you at the top of the show. Just wondering, do you enjoy saying your own name as much as guys like Dan Baker and Harry Kalas did?
I'd rather have someone else say it like Harry and Dan said it. I'm not very good at it, but it's just one of those names. It's got a lot of syllables, and it just flowed very well coming out of Harry and Dan's mouth. But those guys kind of put me on the map because the way they said my name, I got a lot of fans from that. And I when I go out in the city now, I'm the Phillies team ambassador, so I do a lot of appearances and things like that. And when I go out in the city, I get people come up to me and they try and say that name like Dan and Harry used to say it. So it's a lot of fun for me.
You were out at the Delco event that I met you at last summer over at Dolan's Pub. That was a great time. All right, we have another terrific event coming up later this month that we want to talk about. It is a benefit for the Darren Dalton Foundation, and it is at Von C. Brewing in Norristown. It's called Pitchers, Pints, and Players. It's Friday the 27th, starting at 7 p.m., and I know it's going to be a great event. Before we talk about the event itself, we always hear about how great a leader Dutch was. How so?
Yeah, he was. He was a father figure to me because he had been in the big leagues for 6 or 7 years before I got called up. And he really taught me a lot about the game, how to deal with the media here in Philadelphia, how to play herd, how to do all these different types of things as a teammate. And he not only cared about winning, he was very passionate about winning, but he cared about his teammates. And when you went out there and did something you weren't supposed to do on the field, he would bring you aside and talk to you and tell you what you did wrong and how to fix it and things like that. And he was just an unbelievable team leader. And I remember Jim Fregosi was the manager of the team. He really didn't have to take charge of this team because Darren Dalton would kind of nip everything in the butt before it came an issue. So that was, I will state to this day that he is the best team leader I've ever been involved with since I've been playing the game of baseball or following it.
So the event on the 27th, Pitchers, Pints, and Players. First, I'm excited about it because I'm a craft beer fan, and I've heard great things about Von C in Norristown. But secondly, the event itself, I know it's going to be terrific. Phillies Director of Fun and Games, John Brazier, will MC the event with some help from Tom Burgoyne, who happens to be a close personal friend of the Philly Fanatic. And some Phillies alumni will be there as well. I know you're going to be there. Do you know who else might show up?
Yeah, I got some names in front of me. Ruben's going to be there, Don Carmen, Steve Jeld, Sticky Knowles, Ricky Batalico, Mike Mamula is going to pop in and say hi. So, yeah, we're going to have like a question answer with the crowd. There's going to be a lot of good beers to drink, a lot of great food there. And it's just another way of us to try and raise some money for the Dalton Foundation because we're doing a great job of helping people, families deal with brain cancer. And, we have this outing, and we've done an outing at Live where we've had guest bartending and things like that. We have a huge golf tournament in the fall. So we've been able to raise a lot of money and help out a lot of people that need it.
And there will be live music courtesy the Philly-based alternative rock band Bonehead featuring frontman Jay Mannon. For tickets for this event, the Darren Dalton event, it's called Pitchers, Pints, and Players. Go to the website, darrendaltonfoundation.org. And Mickey, before we wrap up, I got to ask you one thing, one very important thing. You grew up a little northeast of Pittsburgh, and I know you were always a big Steelers fan, but now that you've been in the Philly area for quite a while, have you come over to the side of the playoff-bound Eagles yet?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. I'm still a Steelers fan. I grew up in the 70s. I was in my 12, 13, 14 years old in the 70s. And that's when they were winning those 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. So I will always be a Steelers fan. But being that they're in another conference, I think it's okay for me to be an Eagles fan too. So absolutely, I root for the Eagles. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Hurts play this year. I think he's going to be an incredible quarterback. He made great strides this year. It's a fun team to watch. It was unfortunate he got hurt there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I really think he was going to get that MVP. I'm not so sure now because he's missed some games, but I'm definitely pulling for the Eagles and hope they can bring home another championship to this city, because we know how these fans here in Philadelphia rally around their sports teams.
I perfectly understand. I will let you slide on that one. Hope to see you on the 27th at the Darren Dalton Foundation event. It's at Von C in Norristown. Mike Morandini, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, some good stuff right there, fellas.
Mickey is awesome. He did a great job promoting the event. And by the way, in honor of the event at Von C, I am tonight drinking a Von C OG Pills Philly Lager.
All right, so Mike, let's jump into this with you, because you're going to be there. You're part of that Darren Dalton Foundation board of directors, I believe. Tell me a little more about how that actually works. I mean, is it just a sit down at the bar, everybody comes, and you just raise money and drink beer and have fun?
So it's more or less the players are going to mingle with you guys, take photos, ask them stories. You can talk to Ricky Bowe, and he'll tell you how he struck out, Barry Bonds and his numbers against the elite. But it's great. You just get to know them on a personal level, and everything's kind of laid back and relaxed atmosphere. They're going to be doing a brewing tour. Chet will probably be all over that, knowing that he's the brewmaster. But again, just talk shop, find out what the 22, they have a little bit more insight because they're around the players more. Just get to know them on a personal level. And, this will be the same as the way they do the guest bartending, which is just round robin of just walking around, talking shop, and just having a good time.
Now, is there a cover charge for that, or how does that work?
So it's going to be a closed door, so you do need a ticket to get in. So I would suggest it is limited ticketing. So go to darrendaltonfoundation.org and purchase your tickets. I believe it's $55 and $65, depending if you want food or not. But again, all proceeds go towards the Darren Dalton Foundation and helping families in need. So it's a great event.
I ordered my ticket this morning, and they were 50 and 65. The 65, which included food, already sold out according to the website. So I went with one of the $50. I think there's like a $2 service fee charge, which is a whole lot better than what you get through Ticketmaster. Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Mike, when Chet gets there, you're going to have to frisk him for the McDonald's hamburgers he's going to have stuck in his pocket.
Yeah, he'll have the chicken nuggets in his pockets.
Can I tell you something? Just because you mentioned that, McDonald's this week is celebrating the 40th anniversary of the launch of the Chicken McNugget.
There you go.
Mention that.
And how did you happen to have that on our screen?
Because I saw the story today that they are celebrating today. So on my way home tonight with the McDonald's app, I'm going to get a free 6-piece Chicken McNuggets in honor of the 40th anniversary of the McNuggets.
Mike, sometimes he just pulls things out that just make me shake my head.
Bill, I couldn't have lined that up anymore for Chet. Right? I had no idea.
Not planned.
People think we organize this. We don't.
No, we are not.
No, it's on the fly.
That just
Absolutely.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, hey, Mike, before we go, tell us again, Chet, you can throw that up on the screen. Date, time, what all's going to happen?
Yeah, so we're 7 to 10 on January 27th at Von C out in Norristown. As Chet said, you can only buy $50 tickets at this point in time. All proceeds are going to the Darren Dalton Foundation. And, if you do show up, please come over and say hi. It's going to be a great event and great celebrities there to kind of talk shop and get to know on a personal basis.
All right.
Mike, I will not be there till about 7:30, so make sure they have plenty of beer left for me.
I'll try my best, Chet.
Hey, Mike, before we let you go, 4 winners for this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to go obviously to Eagles, but I don't think they're going to cover the 7 and a hook. I think it's going to be a 5 or 6 point game. I think Kansas City absolutely slaughters Jacksonville. I'm sorry for Doug, but yeah. I think his boat has sailed. I think Buffalo puts up 7 against the Bengals there. I think they move on. And my upset, I believe Dallas beat San Francisco on a last-second field goal.
Whoa.
And that's irony because the guy missed 5 straight extra points.
Yeah.
So it's all about the script.
That's right. That's right. Well, Mike, we appreciate it as always coming by. We'll stay in touch and have a great Darren Dalton Foundation event. Should be a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Be well.
All right.
See you next week, Mike.
Have a good one, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, Chet, let's give a shout out to all the shows over at the Edge of Philly Sports Network this week. Wall-to-wall coverage as always. Catch all the action at www.eopsports. Get that.com. As well as Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube. You can find our show on Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube as well. Please hit those subscribe, follow, and like buttons. And as always, share with your family and friends. As you can see, loaded up.
Hey, before we forget, something very important this weekend, Bill. Eagles Game Day Live at Kelly's Corner Bar. That's over in Leicester, Pennsylvania. Edge of Philly Sports will be there. Big Al, Joey Sheeran, Patrick, a couple of the other guys. They will be live at 400 Powhatan Avenue in Leicester. Again, it is Kelly's Corner Bar. Come join the EOP gang for live pre- and post-game fun. I believe they're starting things up at 7 p.m. Kelly's Corner Bar, great drink specials and delicious food. And, of course, the Eagles and Giants on the TVs there Saturday night.
Yeah, and for those that aren't familiar with Leicester, it's just south of the airport. It's very close to where you were at Dolan's, Chad. It's just on the other side of 95. So
okay.
It's not too far out of the way, and in beautiful downtown Delco. Check out Leicester, PA, Kelly's Corner Pub. Should be a lot of fun.
Get on out.
Hey, Chet, before we get to Boop, Philly Sports Trips have anything going on?
Philly Sports Trips, funny you ask, Bill, because they do have a lot going on because, as you may know, we have a Super Bowl coming up, and hopefully the Eagles will be involved in that. And if that's the case, a lot of people are going to be interested in the fact that Philly Sports Trips is booking trips to Arizona. They are right now taking 100% fully refundable deposits for trips. It's going to be difficult to get to Arizona, but Philly Sports Trips wants to reward the fans that come in early by guaranteeing them a seat on their private charter flight and a room at the hotel if you choose that package. A deposit of $499 is required. It reserves your spot if our Eagles make it to Super Bowl 57. Get all the details on the website. You can cancel before January 30th at 5 p.m. By then, of course, you'll know if the Eagles are going or not. Again, all the details on phillysportstrips.com. Now, regarding the home games at the link, the first of which would be, of course, this Saturday evening, Sherry's Ticket Town has you covered for those. Yeah, the game's sold out, but sherrystickets.com has tickets and no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with sherrystickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 for Edge of Philly Sports. EOP10. So don't pay hidden fees. Save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets for the big games? Of course, sherrystickets.com also has hard-to-get theater and concert tickets. Remember, use the promo code EOP10, the website, sherrystickets.com.
Yeah, and just one comment on that, Chet. When you look up your tickets on Sherry's Tickets, don't go by the ticket price. Go by the final price. Because while maybe you might get something at StubHub, say $5 cheaper, by the time you get to your cart to the end, you're paying $25 more because of the fees that the other people put on that Sherry's Tickets does not. So check that out.
Speaking of such things, I bought tickets for Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks together. Couldn't get them in Philly because I got, I didn't get in time, but I got them for Baltimore. They just announced the Baltimore show. So tickets are on sale in the pre-sale this week. They hit the full public on Friday, but the tickets through Ticketmaster, $99.50, but with all the surcharges, $138 and change. So almost a 38 to 40% increase in service fees through our friends at Ticketmaster.
Exactly my point to Sherry's Tickets. Keep an eye on that.
Go.
Maybe that ticket would have been 110.
Yeah.
Because they don't put the fees on. So
damn you, Ticketmaster.
Yeah, well, that's a story for another day. Hey, let's welcome our man from Boop Stats, Bob Patron Jr. Look at him. He got his playoff beard going again. By Splits Bar and Grill. Boop, we're going to make some more predictions this week.
Okay, if you say so.
All right.
Looking good, Boop.
Bits before we get started from last week into this week's games.
You want to talk about how we did?
Oh, the cheerleaders are out.
All right, put all the cheerleaders up. Go ahead. Yay, Boop.
There you
Boop.
go.
Looking good, Boop. Shut up.
Wait
Yeah,
till they hear what his record was last week.
I know. Boop did have a super weekend. We all lost on Brady's Bucks, but otherwise Boop was terrific. 5-1 for the weekend. Bill, you and I were both 4-2. You, Bill, lost with the Vikings. I took an L thanks to that Chargers collapse against the Jags. So the standings now heading into the NFL's divisional round has me still in the top spot at 52-30. Bill, you're just still one game back at 51-31. Boop, I guess, has been eliminated. Technically, he could still tie if we had all different picks and he got all 7 right and we got it wrong. But you're still in there fighting, Boop. 7 games back at 45.
Mathematically eliminated, huh?
I wasted time.
Well, hey, we're picking all 4 games this weekend. This should be fun. Clock is ticking, though. There's just 7 games left. As we said, Boop is mathematically eliminated, and I need to somehow pull off one win or 2 wins to pass this other clown or Chet.
Yeah.
All right, let's get going. AFC games first. We'll do Saturday. Jacksonville travels to Kansas City. The Chiefs are -8.5. Boop, any questions since you're already in your game gear?
Yeah, no. I read today that Trevor Lawrence has not lost a high school, college, or pro game on a Saturday. I'm going to have to.
Amazing. So I think Boop likes the Chiefs.
Yeah,
froze there, Boop. Okay. Yeah, I'm also taking the Chiefs. I think they're going to cover the 8.5. In fact, the Chiefs haven't always covered this year, but I like the Chiefs big in this one. I think the Jaguars, had a great game last weekend, second half anyway, but it's all Chiefs this weekend.
I'm going to go Chiefs, but I'm not going all big.
Okay.
I don't think there are going to be a lot of big games this week. I think they're all going to be tight. I'm going to go Chiefs to win, though. So that gets us to Sunday. Cincinnati visits Buffalo in a do-over of the one that wasn't done. Have we seen this one before? Bills are -4.5.
Yeah, I got myself a little bit of a case of the Bengal fever. It might be from watching them beat the Chiefs 3 times in 2022. So I'm going to go Cincinnati here.
Well, Boop, great minds do think alike, as you can see right there. I'm also taking Cincinnati. Cincinnati for the win.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious.
Because that was my game. This was the game I was making up because I'm taking Cincinnati too.
Oh my God! Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take Buffalo. I got to make up a game. I got to make up a game somewhere. So I'm going Buffalo. Hey, if you lose by 1 game or lose by 2, it don't matter. I got to get to 0.
All
right. That gets us to NFC Sunday. Dallas visits San Francisco. The 49ers -4. So this might be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I kind of was toying with it as I was watching the Cowboys pull away the other night of going with San Francisco. But Purdy's second half was so good on Saturday after he looked like the bright lights might be getting to him. I'm going to stick with San Francisco at this game.
I really struggled with this one as well. And I went back and forth. But ultimately, I think, the Cowboys played pretty well this past weekend. I don't think they're going to do it again. I'm taking the 49ers to win also.
Yeah, I think the wild card in this game are both quarterbacks, obviously. I think if Purdy can withstand what Dan Quinn is going to throw at him that he's never seen before, that's key. And then the pressure that the 49ers are going to put on Dak Prescott, that's a key, whether he can play through the pressure. He didn't have any pressure the other night, and he looked like, the second coming. That's not how he plays when he's under duress. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to stick with San Francisco at home, mainly. All right. That gets us to Saturday night. The Giants visit Lincoln Financial Field. A night game for the Birds. Eagles are -7.5.
Yeah, the Giants used their passing game a little more than I thought on Saturday. Threw for 289 yards. The Eagles haven't allowed more than 236 in passing yards in any of their home games. Only twice as a team even reached 200. So they're not going to win that way. And unless Barkley runs for 300 yards, there's no way they're going to win this game Saturday night.
All right. I just want to see what Boop's name tag says Boop phone from basement. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also taking the Eagles. I think they win and cover. If you want to score, I'm taking the Birds 30-20 Saturday night.
Well, I'm taking the Eagles. I'm not sure I like the spread. I'm thinking it could be a little bit closer than this, but I'm not believing in Daniel Jones. I'm not believing that the Giants are a hot football team. But I do believe the Giants are better when Saquon Barkley's on the field. And like you say, Boop, I don't know if it's 300 yards, but if they could get him the ball in space somehow, whether it's running, screens, whatever, he could be a little bit dangerous for him.
Let him go yard one.
Eagles have won 9 straight at home against the Giants. It ain't going to end here.
Yeah, and Eli Manning will be at the game. So, Boop, what are the odds that Eli gets a double bird?
I don't know. Maybe they're going to be singing. They're going to open. He's going to walk out to Eli's Coming from Three Dog Night.
Oh, all right, Boop. Any more weekly Splits Bar and Grill tidbits for the division round weekend?
Things you probably already know. The Eagles have never lost a home divisional round game or history. They won in 1980 season, 1981, and 4 times in the 2000s, 5-0. 4 of all those 2000 divisional home games in fact, came in under, if you're thinking on that way. And looking back at this past wild card weekend, I had quite a few bets with FanDuel where they allow you to do certain things that are going to happen all weekend. Every wild card team scored 2 touchdowns this weekend. That hasn't happened in a wild card round, which used to be 4 rounds, since 2009. Let's just say the Bartenders got tipped very well that evening. And all 5 of the 6 games this past weekend were over. The only under by a half a point was Tampa Bay Dallas, and if you shopped around, you might have gotten an over on that also. So time to buckle down and they have to make up, 8 games in 7 days. I mean, that's doable. I can do the math.
There you go. Hey, Boop, I want to ask you one question. We talked about this early on before you were with us. What you think about the weekend's officiating?
I like. Let me get this right. I like that the communication between the league and the officials is ongoing, but it gets to the point where it's like we know what the Thursday's meetings were about. Sunday games when they start calling the illegal man downfield, or certain things you start picking up early. You can tell what they talked about during the week as far as what they want them to specify at. There's got to be a better way to do that smoothly across the board. Maybe make all those decisions in the off season and not harp on so much in the week of the games, and again, this is all a matter of all the replays coming back, and you get every little step to see where the toe is in, if this guy was holding or, whatever. As my father used to say, football did pretty good for 75 years without any replays at all. So, you get what you sow with you what you grow, or sow with you rot, or something.
Reap what you sow.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
That's it.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, Boop, we appreciate you coming by. As always, we'll do it again next week. We're getting down to the end, my friend.
Yes, we are.
Eagles Chiefs?
After this, right?
What's that?
I get a couple weeks off when we're finally done football.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Boop, we'll talk to you. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Hey, Chet, great guest tonight. Mike Conroy, Mickey Morandini, Bob Vitrone Jr. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
This is not confirmed as yet, but if all goes well, we will have Paul Domowitch joining us, because we hope to be talking about an Eagles NFC Conference Championship matchup with somebody, either the Cowboys or 49ers, a week from this Sunday. Again, not yet locked in stone, but hopefully Domo will be available for us, because we love talking to him. Paul Domowitch from the 33rd team.
Awesome. Good deal. Hey, we're going to throw this in here because it is January, Chet. Flyers playing good until they ran into Boston, the best team in the East, on Monday, beat them 6-0, but then they turned around, bounced back, won against the not as good Anaheim team last night. They won 8 out of the last 10. Hey, They going to make the playoffs?
Oh man. Look, they're playing better for sure. They've won 8 of 10. They're still 5 points back of that final wild card spot. I believe the Penguins are holding that right now, but I just don't see them continuing this. I mean, it would be nice if they had some of the injured guys back. They got to figure out what's happening with the goalie situation. Sam Ersson still undefeated goal despite that awful first game.
Well, there's not a goalie situation.
Yeah, I know they're splitting the time. Kevin Hayes with his first hat trick last night. By the way, I'm going to stand by my claim, Bill, that 19-19-7 is not 500. Yes, they have exactly 45 points in 45 games. To you, that means 500. To me, they've lost 26 out of the 45 games they've played. How do you think they felt after those 7 OTLs that they suffered? They didn't feel great.
I would expect that from you, being a glass half full guy. or glass half empty guy versus a glass half full guy.
My can is half empty right now.
Yeah, us glass half full guys, we see 19 and 19. That's all we care about. So you can look at it any way you want to look at it, but hey, 19-19. If they were losses, they've been in the loss column.
I do hope it is OTL loss. Okay,
you get a point for it, so it's a tie.
Okay, yeah, enough about that. I hope they continue winning. I really do. I would love to see them surprise all of us and sneak into the playoffs. That'd be cool. So go Flyers.
Hey, I will say one other thing. Travis Konechny, who is just absolutely on fire, he is on pace for close to a 90-point season if he can continue doing what he's doing. I mean, that's unheard of. This guy's a 50-point guy.
Yeah, he's played very well.
40, 50-point guy, and he's going to be in the 80s and 90s. What a year so far. Hopefully he can stay hot. And Kevin Hayes, as you said, his first ever career hat trick, so that was pretty cool too. All right.
Let's razz, Bill.
Yeah, let's take a quick break and thank our friends at the PPCC 118 Razz Room. They post great sports memorabilia on their Facebook page, so people can take a chance of winning something they may not be able to afford or have access to. All items come with certificates of authenticity. They continue to run out great autographed memorabilia from all the Philly teams and more. Check out their Facebook page, like it or follow it. It's PPCC 118 Razz Room. That's right, PPCC 118 Razz Room on Facebook. We have a parting shot tonight. Any final tidbit?
Well, it was right here that I was going to talk about those McNuggets, but I already did that. So now I'm just looking forward to making a stop at Mickey D's on the way home and grabbing those free McNuggets. I will mention again that there are some tickets available for the event, the Dalton fundraiser event, a week from Friday at Von C Brewing in Norristown, which I've never been to. Hopefully it's going to be all that I've heard it is, which is a wonderful place. And what else?
I have a rest in peace, Chris Ford.
Yeah, how about that? Former Villanova
Wildcat.
Yeah. Sixers coach briefly.
Yep, Atlantic City. Went to school in Atlantic City. Grew up in Atlantic City. Played all around town.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about it, but quickly, what did you think about the Phillies and Reese Hoskins with their $12 million deal?
Well, I figured it was probably going to happen. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they would do if it didn't happen. Really, at this point, I'm not sure where they're going to go from there. We'll see.
Hey, he is what he is. He's a streaky hitter. Sometimes he's great. Sometimes he's not so great. He's never going to win a Gold Glove, we don't think. But hey, I like the guy. He's a likable guy, and I think he's a very good teammate. So let's hope he has a great year.
Well, and I think for Dave Dombrowski and what you were talking about with Mickey about the bullpen, they're going all in.
Yeah,
they're really pushing all their chips in. Win now and with what they've got. And hey, why not go with Hoskins? Is by all words is a great clubhouse guy.
Yeah,
and you're going to need that.
Wrap it up, Bill.
All right, let's thank tonight's special guests, Mike Conroy, Mickey Morandini, Bob Vitrone Jr., our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Bob Sullivan's LikeYourAge.com, PPCC 118 Razz Room, and Dave Lavoie of Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, January 25th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook. Listen to our website, phillypressboxradio.com, on blogtalkradio.com/phillypressboxradio, on Google Podcasts, as well as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans, and go!
Oops.
Happy trails to you till we meet again.